Good morning, good morning! Oh, it's far too early for that kind of behaviour, but it's time to go out for a sunrise shoot, first one in ages. Let's do this. Welcome to Fraserburgh Beach. It's been quite some time now since I was last out for sunrise, never mind out at a beach really early in the morning, and recently I've been thinking about this quite a lot because over the summer it's really difficult to get out for sunrise unless you're wild camping in a beautiful spot and you can just roll out of your tent and you're there, but that never happened for me this summer because of various reasons. So now that we're getting into autumn, the sun is rising a lot later, it's getting so much more accessible to get out early in the morning and enjoy this beautiful time of day, and that's exactly what I felt the need to do this morning because the weather this week has been pretty bad. It's been a lot of rain, a lot of dullness, very dreich as they would say in this part of Scotland, but this morning I saw that it was going to be lovely. It was going to be a really nice morning in terms of there's going to be no rain, pretty much no wind at all, it's very still, and there was a chance of some breaks in the clouds. So I'm keeping all my fingers crossed this morning that we're going to get a really nice sunrise. As I say, I've come down to Fraserburgh Beach. I've been down here a few times for walks and for tourism campaigns that you may have seen, but I've never been down here for a proper landscape photography trip, and I've been wanting to do it for quite some time now. So this morning it's happening. Fingers crossed we're in for something exciting, and obviously I'll vlog you through it and we'll see exactly what's going to happen in the coming 15 or 20 minutes. Let's do this. One thing that I just love about this time of day is when you've got a nice calm morning like this and the tide has just retreated so the sand is wet, you've got these lovely reflections, and because it's still twilight, the sun is yet to rise, the light just now is incredible. I've often said that although sunrise and sunset are sometimes the best times for landscape photography, as many people would say, I personally find twilight, so dawn or dusk, some of the most inspiring times. That time's a day where, you know, the time is turning from day to night or night to day as it is just now. I just find it so inspiring, so incredible and so beautiful to get out and shoot, and this morning the reflections of the lights on the sands, it's just stunning. You know, I'm getting a really good feeling about this. We've got some stunning shaped clouds that have started to appear, and some of the light is beginning to hit some of them. It's still very early on, we've got at least half an hour until the proper sunrise yet. But I'm really looking forward to this because I do get the feeling that we're going to be in for a treat. And I definitely think this morning is going to be reflecting around reflections. There's not much in terms of foreground interest here, but because we've got the wet sand, we've got a great opportunity for reflection shots, and hopefully if the sky really kicks off, we're going to get some really interesting and very, very colourful photographs. Fingers crossed! In many ways, landscape photography is all about learning what images will work in different light conditions, and my original plan for this morning was to go up to these sand dunes to shoot the sunrise, but actually they would look best post-sunrise when you've got that really amazing orange light hitting the land, lighting up all the marram grass and the sand. But what works really well pre-sunrise and before dawn, or during dawn should I say, is when the clouds begin to light up and they reflect on the wet sand. So I'm going to spend the first half of this morning down here shooting reflections, then the second half of the morning up on these sand dunes trying to get that golden light as it immerses and hits the beautiful sand and the marram grass and just totally transforms the landscape into a lovely, I don't know, but that golden light makes things really come alive and I'm super excited for it. What I'm doing right now while I'm waiting for the sun to rise is I'm practicing some more of my sort of fine art style photography, and I found this piece of what I think is seaweed, but I'm not going to go over and look at it because I don't want any footprints in the sand. But it's acting as a nice focal point, and there's a windmill in the background that I'm trying to frame in one image that I'll then crop with the right reflections on the sand, just to hone in on something a little bit more intimate in the landscape and to basically just try and do something creative while I'm waiting for things to kick off. Because you can never be 100% sure. You can get a sort of inkling of what the sunrise is going to do, and this morning I think it's going to be amazing, but you're never 100% sure. So while we've got some of this orange band of light coming through the clouds just now, I want to utilise that and use it just in case when the sun does rise it's not as good as I hope it will be. Because you've got to sort of make the most of your situation and photograph away while you're waiting for the light to change, because that's how you learn and improve and how you will hopefully go home with some more diverse images and something that little bit different. Just 2 minutes until the sun is officially supposed to rise, and as you can probably see, it didn't quite manifest to the lovely colours and that I'd hoped it would, which is why I was sort of explaining a wee while ago this idea that you never quite know what's going to happen. Even if you think, yes, this is going to be a good sunrise, it doesn't always turn out to be that way. But because the sun hasn't risen above the clouds yet, we still don't know what sort of light it's going to cast in the landscape around me. We unfortunately are not going to get that really nice colours that are going to reflect on here, you know, that pre-sunrise light that, you know, really illuminates the sky. That's not going to happen this morning, which is unfortunate, but that's how landscape photography goes, and you just have to go with how the conditions turn out and make the most of what you find. But like I say, we've still got a second chance, because in many ways, sometimes when that golden light comes above the horizon and hits the landscape, that is what can really transform the landscape and allow parts of the landscape that you wouldn't normally look at twice to really come alive, and it gives you a lot of contrast and it gives you a lot of just interesting light that you can really work with. So whether that happens this morning or not is yet to be seen, and unfortunately we had a really big gap in the clouds about half an hour ago, but it's now started to to close up a bit, so even that might not happen. But you've got to be in it to win it, as I've said many times before. And I always think the best thing about landscape photography is getting up or being out at times of the day when you wouldn't normally be up or out, and just embracing it. And the reason I'm here this morning is because of landscape photography. But just being out and enjoying this scene and immersing myself in nature is what makes getting out and trying to do photography so rewarding. It's the experience, it's not always the photographs that you go home with. And that's something you've got to remember when the conditions don't quite turn out as you'd hope they would. It's an experience, and it's well worth getting out to enjoy. I'm now walking up to the sand dune system. I really don't think we're going to get any nice sunrise coming through the clouds. But as I was walking here, as every time the wave retreats, we get really nice reflections. And there's another photographer in the distance, quite far away, and his silhouette against the reflections and the reflection of the sunrise was just stunning, and it gave some context of the scale of the beach, and just having that human element in it was great. And because he was really far away into silhouette, you don't know who he is, it's just a nice scene, a nice image of somebody interacting with the beach. I wanted to be another photographer. It was very fitting. I really like that. So I took a few images of him, basically, like I say, reflecting with a nice sunrise light behind him and all the lovely reflections in the sand. And I just love these images. I love it when people take images like this as well. Like I say, it adds context to the scene, shows a human element, shows somebody interacting with it. And I just think these images are stunning. Just got to the top of this sand dune and things are getting really exciting. Just oh my gosh, the sunrise has just popped out from behind the clouds. Stunning view up here, by the way, I'll show you in a minute. Here is just insane. I have driven through Fraserburgh many times over the past few years, and I've always been very interested in these sand dunes, and I've always wanted to come up and see what the view is like from the top. And I've got to say, it's so good to be able to do that this morning, because the view, look at this! How incredible is this view? It's just stunning, and just the second I got up here, the sun peaked above the clouds. Unfortunately, it's a bit too high up in the sky to get that stunning orange glow that I was hoping for this morning, but it still added some light to the environment and to the landscape, and I couldn't get a very good composition because it all happened very quickly, and yeah, things just went a bit crazy. But being up here is insane. So I've got an amazing view, and what I'm trying to do is, the sun keeps poking out here. Like I say, it's not got that intensity that I would like, it's a bit too high up in the sky now, but there's some interesting clouds over there that it's filtering through, and I guess they'll get some nice reflections of that sunrise on the beach and on the wet sand. So I'm going to stick it out here for a while, take some more shots, and basically just see what happens in the next sort of 15-20 minutes, and then probably call it a morning. Although one thing that's really interesting me is we've had a lot of wind the last few days, even though it's nice and calm this morning, and we've got these lovely waves that are churning up here, and they're crashing just before the harbour there, and I'm hoping that maybe if I put a long lens on and zoom in on that, I might get some nice crashing wave shots with the context of the harbour wall before I go home. But let's concentrate on this bit just now, snap away and just see if I can get some interesting images of this atmospheric sky and the clouds. But like I said earlier on, just being here this morning this is what landscape photography is all about, and I have missed this. I have really missed this. And just feeling the force of nature and watching and hearing these waves crashing this morning was well worth getting out of bed at 5:30 to enjoy. Well, that's the end of another vlog, and I've got to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed this morning. Just getting up early, getting out for dawn and admiring this stunning scene. It's just been incredible. It's been so long since I've got up early and just watched the world awake around me. Like when I first arrived here, I was the only person on the beach, and even between then and now I've only seen 3 other people. So I pretty much had this whole beach to myself this morning and truly immersed myself in this scene, admired the light change, enjoyed the reflections. I've no idea how good the photographs are, I'll find out when I get home. But just being out and enjoying this time of the day and starting my day in such a positive way is just, it's been incredible. And this, you know, I've really missed this. And now that we're into autumn, I hope and pray that I'll find the energy and the enthusiasm and the motivation to get out and do this at least once a week. The sun has now completely risen, still beautiful scenes around here, still some nice light. I'm going to stick around and just enjoy it for the next half an hour before I head home for breakfast. As always though, I want to say a huge thank you for watching. Super excited for some of the adventures that I've got coming your way in the next month or so. I'm actually going to a part of Scotland for 4 days of filming that I've never been to before, and I'm super excited for that. And I've got some very exciting events and products coming out soon that I can't wait to share with you all, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, as I said, I'll hopefully see you all again next time. What a morning. Absolutely stunning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, it's far too early for that kind of behaviour. One thing that I just love about go up to these sand dunes to shoot the sunrise, but actually they would look best they would look best